All right, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today, a little bit in the evening, Lions Talk Live, and we've got some speculation coming out. About 2 hours ago or so, it was starting to be widely reported that disgruntled wide receiver, Brandon Aiyuk, the guy who made the big catch in the NFC title game against the Detroit Lions when the pass bounced off, or the would-be interception bounced off Kendall Vildor's face mask and then ended up in his hands. Hey, getting back to Aiyuk, hey, he clearly wants out of the 49ers. He even went on to say that they don't want me here. Direct quote, they don't want me back, end quote. He's gone on record saying he might pull a hold in, sort of like Deebo Samuel a year ago, where basically he's not holding out. He's going to come to practice and just say, hey, I'm not good to go. 49ers obviously going to have a difficult situation at the end of next year, whether or not going to be able to sign him. Detroit Lions, everybody out there says, hey, they're Super Bowl champs, or excuse me, contenders. They're going to be one of the front runners to be considered an option to win the Super Bowl. And one of the betting favorites is you can look over in Las Vegas and see. We've all debated, could they potentially add another wide receiver? If you ask most people, if there's an area on this team that the team feels is maybe not as deep as some other areas of the team, it universally comes up whenever the question is asked, is wide receiver amongst them? Most of the fans seem to agree the Detroit Lions could handle adding another prolific wide receiver out there. And the idea of adding somebody like Brandon Aiyuk to this staff, this team, would really take the wide receiver room, I think, to a whole another level. The Lions, as we all know, are holding on to basically $40.5 million in available free cap space. Could they use it for someone like this? I guess that would be the big debate going on here the rest of this offseason. Do the Lions pull the trigger and try to acquire someone like that? With the 49ers, who know that the Lions are going to be one of their biggest threats to potentially returning to the Super Bowl, would you want to deal them to somebody like that? As a coach or a former GM, I would say this: there's no way in heck I would trade him to the Detroit Lions. But that being said, the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, taught us all in the 80s and 90s one simple rule in life: everybody's got a price. Would the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes be willing to pay that price? That I don't know. But here's what I can tell you. Aiyuk would add a whole lot to this team: speed, depth, power. And now, as an opposing defensive coordinator, who do you stop? All three of the starting wide receivers would just be matchup problems. You got a tight end situation with Laporta that is not ideal for stopping anybody. Gibbs coming out of the backfield or being motioned out into the slot, or even the outside wide receiver spot, a matchup problem. The more matchup problems you present to people, it's just harder and harder to stop. You look back at this year's NFL draft, and what did you see? Man, the first, 14 picks were all offense. And I think that's a trend that's not going anywhere anytime soon in the NFL. The offense is what rules the NFL nowadays, and can you stop them just enough to win some games? That seems to be the thing. I'm not going to say this trade's going to happen, but I'm going to say this. It does sound like Aiyuk wants out of San Francisco. He wants to get paid. He does not want to be there, and the 49ers do not seem to be in a great situation. As we all know, after this season, their quarterback's going to get paid. Brock Purdy's going to want some money. He's going to want a wee bit of money. And you've already got Christian McCaffrey getting paid. You got Deebo Samuel got paid. The tight end, Kelsey, gets paid. I mean, not Kelsey, but I can't remember his name right now. But you guys get it. You got some offensive linemen, some defensive players getting paid. 49ers in a rough spot. Lions are quite the opposite. They've got just money galore. They've got some of their big names, at least on offense, for the next 2 years getting paid. So I think they're a great state. Let's see what you guys got to say. Would you go out and try to get Brandon right now? I don't know. Let's see what you guys got to say. What do you got? Oh, boy, here we go with something that's going to never happen. Sweet. Knew it was coming. All right. Well, nobody's saying anything's going to happen. So I guess what I would say to you is, have you heard something that isn't going to happen that is going to happen? I don't know. But as you can see from the thumbnail within the video, there's a question mark on it. So maybe your reading's not the greatest, but move on from that, my friend. All right, Bo, good evening, Duke Crew. Just say no. Dare to troll with your own. There you go. All right, fair enough. Michael, what up? What up to you? Big D, yo, yo, yo. Hey, hey, hey. All right, Moonscar, well, at least we have some cap space to consider it. And that's where I'd be with it. And I, again, like I said earlier in the video, I wouldn't do it myself, but, I'm not Brad Holmes. It doesn't seem like a Brad Holmes move, But I would say this, and hey, if you feel you're one wide receiver away from really just making it incredibly difficult for teams to beat you, would you pull the trigger? Would you go for it? Take a 1-year rental on this guy and then let him go after the year? I guess it also needs to be considered, what would the 49ers be willing to part ways with him for? That I don't know, and it doesn't seem like a Brad Holmes move, but let's be honest, guys. He is a player. He is, at least for one more year, affordable. After that, I mean, who knows, man? Don, what do you got? Never going to happen. Would cost us first and second. Brad Holmes won't budge. Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, Don, I'm with you. If they wanted a first or second, there's no way it's going to happen. And I don't see any team giving them a first or second round for him. So, especially when you look at some of the trades the last few off seasons, nobody's given up that kind of package, in my opinion, for him. So, if that's what the 49ers want, then he's probably sticking there and being a in-season holdout. I guess he's a hold-in, as he referred to it. Big D, Burr, I agree. I agree with that too, man. Bo, this doesn't sound like a true grit kind of guy. Yeah. I would say that it doesn't seem like an ideal fit. But to be also honest, I haven't watched the guy a ton or listened to him talk. So who knows, man? Who knows? Moonscar, yeah, I wouldn't want us to give why. All right, yeah. Oh, why? Yeah, 7th round pick, something like that. I'd probably be willing to part ways with if I was Brad Holmes. But yeah, again, that's considering that you're doing it for a 1-year rental. And again, like I said at the start of the show, if you're just joining us, this is not something I would do. This is a speculation video. So nobody is saying anybody's going to go out and get anybody. Nobody's suggesting anybody's going to go out and get anybody. I'm saying, is it possible? Is it something to consider? The Lions have a ton of cap. Would you go do it? I am posing a question to people. So unlike, what's his name, A, at the start of the video, hey, read into things what you want, man, but nobody said anything. So, Gary, if they sign him, who's going to stop the offense? That would be a great question, Gary. You would have just an insanely powerful offense, and if you went for him or another receiver, maybe somebody who gets cut during camp, do you go for him just for that simple reason? You can't stop everybody. All right, Jason, with a receiver like that, we'd be damn near a perfect team. Yeah, and that's where I'm going with that. If you were to do it, if you were going to go after Aiyuk or somebody similar to that, man, the matchup problems out there for every defense. You got one of the better offensive lines in the league, so getting blitzed all day is not going to be highly effective, especially for receivers that can break coverage or the bump at the initial line of scrimmage, because now you're putting that back into the secondary in a wee bit of hurt. Because if you can't get to that quarterback, Goff is good against the blitz, especially on play action. You're going to leave a whole lot of people on one-on-one situations, and whether it's Jameson Williams, Laporta, St. Brown, or whoever else, man, Khalif Raymond, if somebody misses a tackle, that's a house call. Moonscar, give a high draft pick up. All right, man. If that's what you want to do, Moonscar, go for it. How high a draft pick would you give up for him, though? That's my question. Let's see. Zoom, is this true? Is what the big thing I want to keep reminding everybody? Nobody's saying the Lions are going to go get him. Nobody's saying that he's going to be traded from the 49ers. It is just me posing a question because Brandon Aiyuk says he doesn't think the 49ers want to keep him. ESPN has now gone on and reported that perhaps there will be teams that look into acquiring him. So the basis of the video is that, and I want to make sure I am crystal clear. Nobody's saying the Detroit Lions are getting on the calls or phones and making a call. Nobody's saying the 49ers are considering trading him yet. What I am reporting is the Lions have a lot of cap. Aiyuk says the 49ers do not want him. And the Lions, if you ask most fans who reviewed the team and look at it, you guys, dudes on YouTube, dudes in the free press or whatever else, the one spot on the team, everybody seems to be pretty universal that could use a little bit of a boost, is the wide receiver room. Brandon Aiyuk is a wide receiver that would boost the team. So all I'm doing is posing that question. Would you make the move? Nathan, what do you got? Woo! And I'll go with that. Hey, good day to you too. Patrick, if he fits our culture at 26, he would be a welcome addition. Yeah, and that's the part I don't know. I just haven't done any kind of real homework on the guy. I can tell you he's physically a specimen. He's strong. He's powerful. He's fast. And he's got some vertical too. From those parts, I would say, yeah, I wouldn't mind picking him up. Zoom, if we get him, nobody is going to stop our offense. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, 100% there. Big D, the way you lay that down, coach, we sound unstoppable. I mean, think about it, D, and everybody watching, everybody out there. I would ask you, who do you stop? Because, I don't know if you guys watched earlier, but I was with Kurt Steele and Ant-Man on Micro Mike or Lions Nation Unite, and we threw it out there when we are talking about Khalif Raymond. To me, if it was me, I would make him the number 3 wide receiver just for this simple fact. Almost all of our games are on an indoor track, playing surface, AstroTurf. Somebody like Khalif Raymond, you miss a tackle on him, he can move the ball very quickly because of his speed and his agility. He's not going to be matched up with the number 1 corner and number 2. It's going to be a number 3 or 4. That guy is probably not always the best, most sure-handed tackler. So for me, from that standpoint, Khalif Raymond makes a lot of sense as the number 3 wide receiver, in most formations at least. And now if you upgrade from Khalif Raymond to Brandon Aiyuk, I'd feel sorry. I feel real sorry for a lot of defensive coordinators. Gary, don't say much in morning. Listening, though, fair enough. And, hey, thank you for doing that, Gary. Trump, woo! And good woo to you, too. Bo, what do you got? Going public with your problems, dissing your team, threatening, holding out. Yeah, from that standpoint, I would say not an ideal fit for the Detroit Lions and not somebody I think they would go after. And again, just for some of the people out there that love to come in and hate on it, you read things, you hear things what you want, so I'm here just to repeat it for the 29th time. I'm not saying the Lions are going to make this trade or anything else, so if you're that bored with life, go keep being bored. And that's not at you, Bo. That's at the other dude at the start of the video. Trump, no way, get a defense stud. Can we go for both, though, Trump? That's my thought. I mean, you got $40 million in cap space. You could probably pick up a couple dudes if you're really all in to win it this year. Michael D, would you pay him more than St. Brown? That's, and I can only speak to me, Michael, and obviously we all observe Brad Holmes, and we can say going for Brandon Aiyuk does not seem like a Brad Holmes move. If it was me, and assuming what Holmes would do, I would say it seems more plausible we're just going to keep that money in-house and pay our own guys or pay down existing contracts for some of our guys to reduce the cap space in upcoming years. To me, that's exactly what I would do, but we'll see what Brad Holmes does elect to do. Casey, I'd like to see Donovan Peoples-Jones, Khalif, Green, and J-Mo make it happen. Yeah, and I think you would be surprised with some of those guys. I really think you can have a monster season by his standards for Khalif Raymond, maybe Peoples-Jones. Green, we talked about him on Lions Nation Unite earlier today. You haven't heard anything bad about him so far this offseason. You just haven't heard a ton of good either. Guy's got wheels and he's got size. He could be a real threat to make the team as the number 6 wide receiver if they keep 6. Trump, we already have too many offense. Yeah, weapons. We got a ton, man. We have a ton. There is no questions about that. Don, would you bring another wide receiver, make J-Mo feel a certain type of way? If it was me, Don, if we were going to acquire somebody else, I would let him know. You are, without question, receiver 1 or 2. You're one of those two. These guys are just for depth or wide receiver 3 or whatever. Because that's what I would honestly believe. I don't think there's any chance Jameson Williams isn't going to be wide receiver 1 or 2. He's going to be one of those two this year in the forthcoming years. His growth last year, we can all say what we want about his rookie year, the injury year, but really last year was his year, and he runs blocks very well. He can move the ball. He's showing growth, maturity as an individual, let alone a wide receiver. I think he's going to have a pretty good year. Let's see, JP. Oops, so let me turn that down real quick, guys. A little work call there, so I'm going to have to go pretty quick here. JP, neat opportunity, but unlikely. It sounds make a difference. It should make a difference if they can get a 1-year rental for maybe a future 3 or 4. Yeah, and I know we traded our 3 and 4 this past draft, so it would have to, for us, unless we're going to go 2 years down the road, it would have to be something below that even. Rep Music, what do you got? I'm late. What we trading for Aiyuk? No, we're not trading. And I want to be crystal clear on this. I'm not saying there's any sort of reports about us trading for Aiyuk. I'm saying he is coming out, Brandon Aiyuk, and saying he doesn't think the 49ers wants him. If they're going to keep him and not give him a new deal, he's going to do a hold in, sort of like Deebo Samuel did, where basically reports to camp, goes everything, says he's hurt, basically can't go. So, yeah, I am not saying, I am posing a question, though. Would you, as fans, want to go get him? So, just make sure we're all clear on that. JP, no trade speculation of what if. Okay, yep. Uh Mile Magic, I love your show. Glad the Broncos are winning Super Bowl this year. All right, laughing out loud. Let's go. Fair enough. All of the above. And hey, thanks for being here. Nathan, powerhouse offense. If that is a new player on the team, wow, Aiyuk is really good. He is. And I think especially if you could get somebody like him, and I'm not saying it will be him, but if you get somebody similar to him at the number 3 receiver spot, I just think you put so much pressure on most secondaries. And let's face it, look at the Detroit Lions secondary last year. Not great by any standards. Look around the NFL. The days of a lot of shutdown secondaries are kind of rare nowadays. There are very few teams that have one shutdown corner, let alone 2 or 3 very good corners, especially man-to-man principles. So if you're going to put that kind of stress on teams that already don't have great DBs, there's only so much you can do as a defense. Because if you can't blitz Goff, if you can't stop the run, or now if you commit so much to try to, get to the quarterback faster or shut down the run, you leave a lot of real favorable passing situations for this offense. And that's where I think Jared Goff might not be great at this or that. He is pretty damn good at some other stuff. And that's where I think you're playing into his hands at that point. All right, Moonscar. I had fat thumbs earlier, Coach. My opinion is that I would not want to give up a high draft pick for him. Yeah, and that's where I'm with you. If you're going to go for him, Brandon Aiyuk or somebody else, on a 1-year rental, it would be no more than a 6th-round pick for me. And if I give him a 6, you're giving me a 7th. So something like that. Hey, Larry, so nothing. No, again, it's a speculation video. That's all it is. I'm not reporting something is happening. So, yeah, it's just speculation. I'm posing a question. Would you go out for this guy and get him? He has not said he's going to be traded. He is saying he doesn't think his team wants him. I'm simply posing the question to fans. Would you go out and get him? You've got $40.5 million in cap space. Would in your opinion, does this put the Detroit Lions, if you go out and get Aiyuk or somebody like that, into the Super Bowl? Do you win it? And everybody's going to have different answers. If me, as a GM or a coach, yeah, I would, whether it's Aiyuk or somebody like that, you don't have many windows that last very long in the NFL. I get why Brad Holmes wants a sustainable team, but at the same time, you get that opportunity to put the nail in the coffin, make your team arguably the best in the NFL, maybe the best that the NFL's seen in a while. Me, I'm pushing my chips in the middle of the table saying I'm going for it. And you know what? We'll figure everything else out after that. X Vader. He hasn't played a full season, injury issues. I have faith in what we have at wide receiver room. Well, from what you're saying there, he hasn't played a full season, injury issues. That sounds like a Brad Holmes pickup and trade for me. But hey, I also get your point. All joking aside, I do have a lot of faith in Brad Holmes and the coaching staff for the guys that we currently have, if that's the way we decide to go. Gary, hit that like 100%. Steve, you have been on everything you ever predict. Give up. All right. You have been on everything. All right. Well, I've been on it then. All right. Thanks for that, Steve. Rock on. All right. JP, let's see. Steve Schultz, he's not predicting anything, speculation. That's all. Yeah. And that's where people like Steve or the other guy, I think really reading or listening has become a debilitating condition for some people. They hear or read what they want to hear. They don't actually read or listen to the story. They make up their own mind before they even find out what's being said. All right, John, hold it. Attitude works here. Nope. All right, fair enough. Hold it is. All right, Berg time. Just don't trade J-Mo for him. No, don't do that at all, man. No, I don't think J-Mo's going anywhere. I'm out. All love from the Mason mob. All right, there you go. Mason, Michigan, good place to be. Ken, good evening. Danny Do crew. Does Aiyuk have the necessary grit to be the Lions locker room? So that's one thing I did say, Ken, at the start of the video. I don't think he's a Detroit Lion type of player. But I do want to preface that by saying I don't know a ton about his personality traits or anything like that. So that part I can't say. But I think it was Bo who said it earlier. You're out there, putting all this in the public forum about the team doesn't want you. If they're not going to sign me, I'm going to do a hold in during training camp. I don't think there's any chance the Lions would go for him. I'm stating that. What the video is about is me just saying, would you, as a Lions fan, go for him? So, again, some people will read into it what they want, but, hey, I can't hold everybody's hands. All right, see, J-Rod, Coach, and Duke Crew, thanks for that, J-Rod. Hopefully you have a good one. Frank the Tank, do not want the diva. He will not fit the Lions locker room. Yeah, I think we all agree with that, 100%. Let's see, Bo, Duke Crew knows you and knows what you are saying. Speculation, yeah. And again, you guys all know it, man. You guys have watched other channels, other shows. You've read newspapers or watched TV. They're going to be clowns in every chat room or every medium. They come in with predetermined opinions. They don't listen or read anything, and then they say they know it all. So, hey, just the only thing I'd say is when you run into people like that, just have fun with it, man. Crack some jokes. All right, Ken, thanks, Coach. Got here late. No worries, man. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Get this out to you. If you guys watch this later when it's not live, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Again, it's a speculation video. Would you go for Brandon Aiyuk or somebody like him? That I don't know. Everybody's going to have different opinions and go with that. Just be respectful of each other. Doug, the public forum issue pretty much automatically kept him out, in my view, and probably the Lions. I think most of us are going to agree with that, Doug, 100%, that he doesn't seem like he'd be a good fit here. But again, it's a speculation video posing the question, would you as a Lions fan, if you're Brad Holmes, would you go for him? John, don't need him. Let Brad cook. I'll agree with that. 9 drinks. Woo! And just for you guys, real quick, hey, before I get out of here, never gets old to me. Frank, I love San Francisco having problems, though. I heard they want to trade Samuel. Go Lions. Man, if they lose Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk, man, that's great for the Detroit Lions, in my opinion. Of course, it depends on what they get in return, too. So keep that in mind. Gary, so if it's not true, what is the breaking news then? Well, Gary, like I was saying at the start of it, I'm reporting that Samuel wants out of the 49ers. He doesn't think the 49ers are going to pay him. They don't want him, etc. So the breaking news is, this came out 2 hours ago. I am now posing a question to everybody. Would you, as a Lions fan, general manager, whatever, try to make a move to go get him? The Lions have $40.5 million in cap space. Would you go out and try to use some of that to go get him? So let me know what your thoughts are, man. Yada, yada. Well done, Coach. Woo, woo. And good yada, yada day to you, too. So hopefully having a good one, badass. All right, J-Rod, I'd rather have Higgins. Ooh, yeah, man. I can only imagine him in the Lions uniform, but it doesn't sound like there would be any chance of that one. All right, Chrome, pick him up, Brad. All right, Chrome, you have spoken. All right, guys, get out of here. If you want, we'll talk about it more in the morning show. Got another guest on tomorrow morning. That'll be around 7:30 a.m. when the guest comes on. The show starts, of course, at 7 a.m. Ant-Man from Lions Roar of UK will be on. And then Thursday, we've got Kurt Steele, the infamous one, coming on also at about 7:30. Show starts at 7. Feel free to come on over, man. And J-Rod, no dream. All right, fair enough. All right, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.